A bunch of Russian T-62 tanks were seen on rail cars in Russia by what seems like a passing passenger rail car. This made its way to Telegram and then later to Twitter with the text, "More tanks are being delivered to the Russian defenders at the front to help them destroy the adversary. Russian victory is inevitable." So that is definitely a thing a person can say. But let's try to analyze the video and see if there's any truth to that. Note that I look a little different today. I have the President's Daily Brief with Mike Baker in a few hours, so I have to be ready for that. First, let me show you the video, then I'll break the video down. So based on the imagery, I believe these are T-62 tanks. There's no side skirts here, and I believe that this here is the L2 Luna, which is an infrared sight, really an infrared spotlight for the gunner's infrared sight. In the days before thermal vision, gunners could use infrared, but you needed a source of infrared light. Think of it like a flashlight that only you with your infrared goggles can see. Unfortunately, anybody else with a night vision device can trace that spotlight back to its source. That's actually exactly what happened in Iraq during Operation Desert Storm. The Iraqis turned on their night vision, which maybe had a range of 1,200, 1,500 meters, and our M1 tanks just sat 300 meters away out of range and just picked them off one by one, just aiming at the spotlights. So this is like late 50s tech, but don't laugh because the US used this tech all the way up to like the 70s. So these tanks are between 53, maybe 63 years old. They may have gone through modernization in the 1980s. I believe this is a pleak armor right here, which may indicate these are T-62M models, but by no stretch of the imagination are these frontline vehicles. Bit about the T-62. It actually does not have an autoloader. A lot of Russian tanks have autoloaders. It has a human loader and a crew of 4, driver, commander, gunner, loader. And it has a 115 millimeter gun, which I wasn't even aware they still made ammo for this thing, since so much of Russia is 125 millimeter, but apparently they still make ammo for this, or at least this ammo still exists. A couple of things. Just because something is getting on a rail car doesn't mean it's getting deployed. Militaries move stuff by rail all the time. Next to putting it on a boat, moving something by rail is the most efficient way to transport military cargo. So these tanks could be part of a foreign sale. They could be being moved to make room at another storage yard for different vehicles. They could be moving them to a training site so that Russian soldiers can learn on old tanks before getting familiarized with more modern vehicles, which there may be less of to train them on. So you can learn the basics on a T-62, and then when you go to your advanced school, you learn on the T-72 to learn the specifics of that vehicle. So they could also be moving them to be repaired or modernized. And yeah, they could be going to Ukraine. We just don't know based on the length and context of the video. One interesting thing, there are BTRs in the back, these armored personnel carriers. I can't tell what variant of BTR it is from the video quality, but the fact that there are 2 rail cars, 2 rail lines full of vehicles might mean that this is some kind of military switching yard, maybe. I don't know. I just wanted to point out that there were BTRs on these rear flatbeds. So now, would these vehicles be effective in Ukraine? I mean, a tank is better than no tank. It could be used as a mobile gun system to support infantry assault. So yeah, I mean, I guess it could be effective. But if these tanks really are going to the front lines, Russia isn't scraping the bottom of the barrel. They're under the barrel. I have no idea how Russia can support the logistical requirements of 3 different kinds of rounds. 100 millimeter, 115, and 125. It must be a logistical freaking nightmare to get the right ammo to the right unit. But I don't think we can draw any conclusions either way about the purpose of these tanks, but it certainly doesn't mean victory for Russia is inevitable. And yes, I know what I'm dressed like today, but Bunker Branding has my Intel Life t-shirt as a hoodie and a sticker as well. Hey, buy my Bunker Branding Intel t-shirt. It gets really cold in this GIF. And thank you guys so much for watching. It's me, Captain Bannon of the documentary Team Yankee. When I'm not kicking commie butts, I'm wearing t-shirts from Ryan McBeth, available at Bunker Branding, Knife Hands, HIMARS, Landmines, Patriot, and even my favorite, the tow missile. Mushna, we want t-shirt too! Take a hike, commie! So come on down to Bunker Branding and take a stand for what's really important about America. Capitalism!